closing keynote speaker for day one. This is Kyle King. This is a dear friend of mine, somebody who I respect and look up to, and we are very close business and life friends. He's drawn stuff out of me that nobody else has, like literally on the podcast, Kyle. And he is a compelling and powerful speaker. He is an author's coach. He's an entrepreneur. He's a father and a fatherhood advocate, and somebody who is affecting massive, massive change, not just in his communities, but in the world. The size of his vision is massive, and that's why he's here to talk to you, to turn you on, to inspire you today. My friend, Kyle King.
How we doing? So it's so interesting because as speakers we focus weeks and weeks and weeks on preparing a speech, and then we get into the room, feel the energy, and it's like, we're gonna scrap that. Yeah. It's kind of like we have the ingredients for a meal, and then we don't follow the recipe, and then we wonder why it doesn't turn out in the way that we actually want it to turn out. So the reality of it is that I'm not gonna go with the speech that I prepared. Right? Because I feel something in this room that is more impactful, and I want you to understand that you have power. I want you to understand that, one, your obstacles are gonna set you up for greatness. Those are the same things that are gonna create opportunities that are gonna just impact for generations to come. But I want everybody to stand up before I get started. I believe there's something powerful when we can stand in unison and be able to communicate a message together. So I want you to repeat after me. My purpose.
My purpose.
My purpose.
My purpose.
Is stronger than my pain.
Is stronger than my pain.
My purpose is stronger than my pain.
My purpose is stronger than my pain.
I want you to look at the person on your left and look at the person on your right and say, I am worthy and deserving of everything that I envision.
I am worthy and deserving of everything I envision.
You can take your seats. So thank you so much, Lauren, and the Grab Your Life by the Goals team. This is a phenomenal event. We've been able to hear from some absolutely phenomenal speakers. And as a part of this journey of life, it's absolutely hilarious to me because the only easy part is coming up with the idea, writing the goals, coming up with the vision. That's the easy part. But we don't really understand, as a part of this journey of becoming, whether it's becoming a better mother, whether it's becoming a better father, a business owner, becoming an expert, you can't bypass the inconveniences, the obstacles, the barriers, and all of these different things serve as payment so that we can be able to reach the promise. How many of us feel that? Mm-hmm. So a lot of us don't really recognize that all of these inconveniences, all of these challenges or these obstacles that we've talked about today really serve as the tolls that are required to be able to get to our destination. But like many of us, we skip steps, like me. I drive right down 485. I forget that I have not paid my toll bill in months, and I just keep on driving because I'm trying to skip steps. So my conversation that I'm gonna have with you today, in this conversation, it's my goal, it's my hope that I help you realize that we can't keep skipping steps. I want you to realize that in the moments that we skip steps, like in those ingredients, in those recipes, it's not gonna produce the meal, it's not gonna produce the masterpiece, and it's not gonna produce the miracles that we are destined and called to be able to create. So I want you to repeat after me. My circumstance has nothing on my calling. My circumstance has nothing on my calling. Because sometimes our circumstances are painful. The divorce that Colleen talked about earlier is painful. Sometimes us not being able to be profitable in our businesses for years, that's painful. Us not being able to show up for our kids in the ways that we want to be able to show up for our kids, that's painful. And as I prepared for this speech, I was really reflecting on all of the moments where I was really in pain. And so many different things came up. But the first time that I really reflected on when I felt and experienced pain that transformed the trajectory of my life is when I was 16 years old. My parents just got back home from a cruise. They were vacationing. My father walked into the house and he said, "Son, I need you to sit down." Which is interesting because my father's a very straight shooter guy. What it is, he's gonna tell you. He's here with us today. So I knew that there was something going on. But I didn't know what. I didn't know if something happened with my mom, something happened with my sister, my older brother. So he told me to sit down. He said, son, Dietrich died. I said, what? My high school best friend, my teammate, like a brother to me. And at the moment, I was filled with emotion that I really couldn't process, so it led me to asking the question, Dad, what happened? He said that he didn't have his seatbelt on, and him and 4 other people died except the driver in the car. Flew right out the window. And it didn't really process until moments later, days later, until we walked into the funeral. And as I was walking down to an open casket body, 16 years old, me at the time, I saw Dietrich in his cold, still, lifeless body. And it wasn't the moment of seeing him that really ripped me to pieces as I continued to cry puddles of tears. It was the moment of realizing all of the unrealized potential. All of the visions that me and Dietrich talked about, because he was the one. I just knew that he was going to go to Duke and play basketball. He was the one, 6'7", 220 pounds. As a 16-year-old young man, he was going to the NBA. He was going to be the one to change the trajectory of our high school, of our community, all of these different things. So that's what I saw. And it doesn't compare, not one bit, to the morning when we look into the mirrors and we've lost ourselves. This process of recognizing that what we used to desire or what we used to love about people just doesn't fuel us anymore. Recognizing that the person that we're trying to hold on to is the same person that's holding us back. Recognizing that what used to make us happy and joyful just doesn't bring the same joy and solace. Let me tell y'all something. It's 2023. A lot of you have written goals. A lot of you have written your vision. A lot of you have written your aspirations, but a lot of you have done that in 2022, 2021, 2020. So let me tell you something. If you don't understand that nothing changes until something changes, you're going to walk into 2024 and 2025, and you're going to have a new year, but you're going to be the same you. If you want change in your marriage, you might have to do something different. If you want change in your business, you may have to implement new strategies. You may have to hire a new coach. Your methods have gotten you to this point. Your methods have gotten you here. But let me tell you something, where you want to go, it starts right now. It starts with you understanding your power. Understanding that some affirmations are the same ones that are altering your destiny. Just because you can sing doesn't mean you were called to sing. Just because you can write does not mean that your calling is going to write books and write movies. See, a lot of us get distracted by our talents, but you're here to write a testimony. So I need you to understand that stop letting criticisms, stop letting compliments cripple your calling. Stop letting all these Debbie Downers in your life sidetrack your destiny. I need you to understand who the hell you are and what you were called on this earth to be able to go create. Who's with me on that? Yeah. With everything that we've talked about today, it's been about your power, realizing your gift, realizing your purpose. One thing that is true, and it's the harsh reality, you will never have power until you kill your old patterns. Until you kill your old patterns in dating, you will never find love. Until you kill your old patterns of being a procrastinator in your business, you will never be profitable. Until you kill your old patterns of going to the gym, walking around, and putting on Instagram and taking pictures, you will never be able to be more fit. Trust me, I know. So I need y'all to understand that for you to get everything that you want in life, everything that you want, it's going to take a massive shift. And I'm going to give y'all 4 things to talk about today. Write this down. Purpose, planted, process, and promise. I want y'all to repeat it after me. Purpose, planted, process, and promise. Let's talk about purpose. You know, I was talking to Julie earlier. Shout out to Julie in here. And, she commented on one of my lives the other day, and she was like, Kyle, I don't know my purpose. And you know, the reality of it is that there's a lot of people in this room right now that don't know their purpose. There's a lot of people in this room that are walking around like you know it all, but really, you're just like Dietrich, and your seat is your coffin. Because a lot of us, we have given up on our dreams. We have given up on the things that's supposed to motivate us. We have given up on all of these different things because of the people in our life, because we're in the wrong environment, we're doing the wrong things, and we're in the wrong calling. So until you wake up and understand that as long as your heart is beating, you have the opportunity to build something, you're going to be in the same place forever. So when we think about this purpose, this conversation about purpose, my mentor said it best. He said, Kyle, purpose, in my opinion, is the thing that brings you the most discomfort, the thing that brings you, that you get aggravated about, the thing that you like to have a good debate over, is probably the thing that you were called to solve. Did you get that, Julie? Okay. So when you think about what you hate, whether it's parenting, whether it's you hate domestic violence, well, you hate people being in financial situations, do you have the solution to solve it? Let me tell you about the solution. It only starts with the first step. See, a lot of us, we get so caught up in the how. Well, Kyle, I don't have all of those different things to go speak on stages. Neither did I. But I put out something later last year. I said, I want to speak to 100,000 fathers this year and teach them how to be better parents. I don't know the how. I'll figure it out. So I want you right now to write down something that aggravates you, that frustrates you, that pisses you off a little bit. And then I want you to really reflect on it for like 10 seconds and ask yourself, well, damn, I could actually fix this? And any limitation, I don't want you to even think about. Because I know that next year, me and Lauren are going to partner on me speaking on a stage of 100,000 people, and she's going to be the day one closer. I know that. I know that. I see that. You have to see the vision before you walk in it, because a lot of you have to make the commitment and let God figure out the rest. So when we think about this conversation of purpose, when we think about it, right, it's all about one word: alignment. Alignment. Alignment to what we were called to do and what we have the ability to do, and you mix those together and you know what comes after that? All of your values, all of the boundaries that need to be set, all of your actions and behaviors, all of those different things. What happens for me and most of us in this room, see, I got the girl, I got the kid, I went and got the college degree, I did all of those different things, I got the house, all of those different things, and you know what happened? I had achieved so much. But because I was out of alignment, I manifested misery. See, a lot of what we're talking about, manifestation. You have manifested your bank account number. You have manifested the life that you have. You have manifested the relationship that you were in because you weren't brave enough or courageous enough to change your patterns, to shift, to get a little uncomfortable sometimes, to do it the way that your coach told you to do it instead of the way that you were comfortable to do it. So I'm gonna give you 5 things that I do. A mentor gave me this years ago. It's really stuck with me. 5 things. He asked me a question. He said, Kyle, what 5 things do you want most in life? I said, man, that's a good question. And as we got through all of the materialistic things, he really asked me again. He said, Kyle, what do you really want most in life? If today was the last day, what would you want to be remembered for if you could accomplish those 5 things? I said, all right. Number 1, and this was a part of the vision. It was interesting when Lauren put that out, I already have it because I'm walking in it. Number 1 is we're all gonna die one day. I want to be known as the father, as the husband, as the community man that is integral, that is respected by his peers, that was loved by people. That is important. Now let me tell you this, it takes a certain level of behaviors in order to create that. Number 2, I believe that love in relationships has been lost. And I believe that we marry because of transaction or circumstance and not true nature of human beings. So I want to be able to marry and have a union that truly is representative of what people truly want. Something that's vulnerable, we're honest, we're in love, all of those different things. That's important to me. Number 3 is I want to open up and launch, and it's happening right now. It's going to be launched officially in 2024. A 75-acre affordable housing project for single fathers to be able to get high-quality education. That's happening. Number 4 is we're launching it 2025. It's crazy. I'm already in conversations about it and working on funding opportunities. 2025, an ed technology that helps to empower 10 million kids across the world. And number 5, I am an author. I've published a plethora of books. I'm on number 8 now. Plethora. I want one of my books, because New York Times means nothing to me. All of those literary awards mean nothing, but one that means everything to me is a Pulitzer Prize. Because there's 2 black authors that have ever been on the Pulitzer Prize winning list. And I just believe the 3rd time's the charm. So when I think about these things, when I think about these moments and these things that I want, you know what that takes? It takes alignment. And that gets us to number 2, planted. Say it with me, planted. Planted. In order for you to accomplish the very things that you wrote down on your list, that you wrote down on your vision for your life earlier, it takes you having values, core values and principles that make you immovable like a tree. When you think about the concept of a tree in reality or whatever it is that you believe in, right? Trees don't move. And if you found a tree that moves from place to place and you plant it, let me know. But when you think about a tree, it doesn't move. You may be able to cut its branches, you may clip it, you may cut the leaves, but it doesn't move, right? But when you think about the concept and the nurturing and the growth of a tree and the evolution process, the fruit that the tree bears is not for the tree. It's for other people. So let me tell you something. If you are not planted, and if you are not in alignment, and if you are not putting systems in place, and if you are not in alignment with the calling that is put on your life, and you're moving from business to business, relationship to relationship, place to place, there and here and everywhere, then you're not going to be able to bear fruit for the people that you were called to bear fruit for. So the reality of it is that a lot of us are moving recklessly. We're skipping steps, and because we're not planted, somebody else isn't able to attach or accomplish the very thing that they were put on this earth to accomplish. I believe that somebody else's destiny is attached to your obedience. And because you're not obedient to the calling, to the gift, to the vision, to the universe, whatever it is that you believe, somebody else isn't able to break free. They're not able to unlock their potential to save their children. They're not able to help that domestic violence family. They're not able to get out of that tough neighborhood. They're not able to break free from that relationship that is drowning them every single day. Somebody in here, I just feel it. I feel it in my spirit. Somebody in here has something transformational that they've been sitting on for so long, but the person that's sitting next to them or the person that's laying next to them doesn't believe in it. So you've been putting it off for years, decades, because that person didn't validate something that was already validated when you were birthed. You are not walking in your calling because the person that doesn't validate it, you're making them more powerful than the validation that you already had on you at birth. So who are you really giving the power to? Number 3, process. Let's talk about it. Process. Repeat after me. Process. Process. And anything that you're creating, and anything that you aspire to do, and anything that you're going off in the world to be able to create, there's going to be some resistance. Y'all know it. It sounds good. It sounds good, like, oh, I'm about to have my 6-figure year, y'all. And then you have $1,000 24 months. And it's like, damn, I got to get a job. It sounds good at the beginning, but everything that you do, whether you're working out, in order for you to go up in weight, what happens? You have to have a little bit more resistance. Whether you're using the resistance bands that only women use, in my opinion, or you're actually lifting weight, but the lifting, the weights, and the gym are just like the weights, the barriers, the insecurities, the inconveniences, the challenges that we lift in life. But let me tell you something. In the gym, if you're on the bench press rack and you can't lift, what do you say? Help, spot me. And who comes behind you? Somebody to help pull you up, pull up the weight. See, a lot of y'all are trying to lift weight that doesn't belong to you anymore. A lot of y'all are trying to lift somebody else's weight. A lot of y'all are too afraid or too arrogant to ask for help. That's the reason why you're here. That's the reason why you're in the position that you're in. You have to open up your heart and release all of that. I ask for help all the time. If I ain't got it, I ask for help, but I'll figure out how to get it. See, a lot of us ask for opportunities, but we're not willing to commit to the obligations and the responsibilities that are a part of that result that we want. What you learn as a part of the process is much more important and much more valuable than what you learn in the result once you get it. What you learn fighting for that marriage is much more important than just being married. What you learn, that there's trials, the 100 sales calls, the getting told no on the phone, the cold calling, the reaching out, all of those different things, what you learn in that process in business is much more important than the first time you close a $10,000 deal. Guaranteed. Guaranteed. So when you think about this process, I don't want us to continue to be reminded of this idea and construct of time. This idea of, oh, I am going to quit because it's not coming in my time. But let me tell you something. Your vision, your calling, isn't going to be delivered in the time that you need it or that you want it. It's going to be delivered in the time that you need it most. The time that you don't even think about it. And in my life, I understand that more than probably a lot of people. A small percentage of people probably can relate to this message, right? 7 years ago, you know, when my first son was being born, it was one of those moments where I was ready to stop baby showering. I was ready to stop gender revealing. I was ready to stop doctor's appointments, all of those different things, and I was just ready for the baby to be born. Can anybody relate to that? You just ready. Whew, you are ready. Then I got the phone call. I was so excited. It was the day of. I was like, oh yes, the baby. So I left the house. I left the gym. I started heading to the hospital. 10 minutes later, she calls me again. She says the baby died.
Oh, wow.
So the pain that I felt watching my girlfriend at the time having to give birth to a lifeless child was something I wouldn't wish on anybody. But that pain right there showed me that my purpose to be a good father to my current son, my purpose to be able to get through my times where I want to quit my entrepreneurship, my purpose to be able to, even though we started in Charlotte 4 years ago on an air mattress in a friend's house, my purpose is stronger than that pain. And the promise that you want in your life, the goal that you want to be able to achieve in life, you cannot overlook the pain that's going to come from it. The business that you're building, it may be painful. It may be painful. But that moment didn't say to me, Kyle, it didn't say, Kyle, quit. Don't have any kids anymore. See, a lot of us are on the brink of a manifestation. A lot of us are on the brink of a vision. A lot of us are on the brink of an innovation. But because one moment, one marriage died, you look at yourself as failure. You are not a failure. You may have failed in a season. You may have failed in that season. But without that failure in that season, you wouldn't be able to walk on the yellow brick road towards success. So y'all say after me, number four, promise. Promise, repeat after me, promise. Promise. Repeat after me, promise. Promise. Look, I was asked, and this is the craziest story. I was asked a few months ago, Kyle, what's the happiest moment that you've ever had in your life? Like the happiest experience? And I was like, that was tough. And it's interesting because I didn't say anything about my current son. And I'm an amazing father. So I love every single second that I get to share with him. I didn't say any of those moments though. I didn't say any awards that I won or any times where I was celebrated. The one moment was when I finished a half marathon for the first time. I was like, yes, you can clap, it's okay. Are there any runners in the room? Runners? Let me tell you something. Everyone in here should have raised their hand because you're either running from something or you're running towards something. So I'm gonna ask you guys again, are there any runners in the room? There we go. You know, in that moment, it's the craziest thing, because I believe in the first lesson is just show up. Write that down, just show up, just show up. That morning, I wasn't even supposed to run. I saw the email, I was like, let's go support the other runners. I went down, got dressed, I was like, I got some sneakers in the car, why not? So I went to the line, mind you, this is 30 minutes before the run. 30 minutes. Went to the line, I'm thinking it's gonna, you know me, I have no concept of time. It's like, I think it's gonna take 30 minutes, it's gonna take a whole hour. So I thought it was gonna take 5 minutes to sign me up. There's a whole line of people, a whole host. I'm like, okay, I get my bib, I put it on, I'm good to go, I have my stuff ready. I go to the start line, and you know what happens? I go down like this to stretch, gun goes off. I'm like, oh shit. 13 miles? So I just start running. And anybody in this room right now, when the gun goes off, what's supposed to happen? When the gun goes off, what's supposed to happen? When you were born, what was supposed to happen? When you had the idea and wrote it on paper, what are you supposed to do? You're just supposed to start running. See, a lot of us are writing down ideas and we're standing at the starting line. A lot of us have been writing down the same vision, but we're still standing at the starting line. A lot of us have been in marriages, but we're still standing at the starting line. The same things that you said you wanted, you're not committing to the actions. But you come here for instruction. A lot of y'all are hoarding information, but you're not committing to the steps, the implementation, and the actions that are necessary for you to be able to inspire someone else. So I just started running. Fuck it, I ain't got nothing else to do. So I just start running. You know what happens? I wasn't worried about this person. I wasn't worried about that person, because when you start that race, it's you versus you. Just like Ohavia said, it's you versus you, and the people that you start with a lot of times are not the people that you finish with. The same person that is holding you back, the same person that you're comparing yourself to, that's trying to push you forward, you have to block out the noise and run your race. You have to mind your pace. You have to trust yourself, because it's not about anybody else but you. Remember that. I don't care if you're married. I don't care if you have a partner in business. I don't care what it is. It is about you first, and then all of the other stuff can come next. Write that down. It is me first. Repeat that after me. It is me first. It is me first. So I just started running, and I'm good. So for the whole year last year, so mind you, I started in March of last year. I went to the doctor, and I thought everything was good. It was just a routine physical. Went into the doctor. I left out the doctor's office, and they said I was pre-diabetic, and if I kept doing what I was doing in the way that I was doing it, I was gonna have a heart attack. I was like, oh, really? I was 232 pounds. It's like, I'm that big? Me? But the reality of it is, you know what doesn't lie? The numbers. When you get on that scale, or when you look in that bank account, or when you really feel the feeling when you gotta lay next to that person, it doesn't lie. So I understand that process of clipping the weight. But I started running throughout all of last year. Started running 2 miles, 3 miles, 4 miles, 5 miles. You know what happened? I started having to increase the ceiling, because 3 miles was like, we good, that's 5K. And then 4 miles, and then 5 miles, and then 6 miles, and then I ran a 10K, but I never ran anything more than 6.2 miles. So for me to think that running 13.1 miles was okay without stretching, without water, I was drinking the night before, I'm like, you are crazy. I said that to myself, but I was like, no, you are brave. You got this. And all through the race, I got to mile 3, I'm good. I got to mile 5, I'm good. I got to mile 7, I'm good. I'm FaceTiming my dad. Look at me, I made 7. I'm FaceTiming him. And then I got to mile 10 and something happened. And if any runner can understand, something happens. I wasn't FaceTiming nobody no more. The whole right side of my leg was shot. I was done, But in my mind, I was like, Kyle, no. You committed to this and you're gonna finish. See, when I commit to things, I make a contract with myself, I get that thing notarized, and I send it back to me. But a lot of y'all commit to things, and then what happens? You shift it, Oh, I'm gonna get up tomorrow at 5 o'clock, the alarm goes off at 4:45, you hit the snooze, it's 4:55, you hit the snooze, I'm gonna start tomorrow. And then 3 years later, you're still at the same weight. 3 years later, you said you're gonna go to marriage counseling and you're still dealing with the same problems. 3 years later, you say you're gonna hire a business coach, but your Chick-fil-A budget is higher than your coaching budget. That's the harsh reality. That's the harsh reality. So I just started running. I wasn't stopping. I was at mile 10, I was good. I slowed down my pace. See, a lot of times when we're closer to the finish line, we think it's time to speed up, but it's not. Mind your pace, trust yourself, trust your heart, trust that gut feeling like, yo, we got this, we're gonna finish. I got to mile 11, I was okay. About a mile, 11 and a half, my left hamstring was cramping, and I ran track in college. I've never felt a pain like this in my life, ever. I got to like mile 12, and then I saw the sign that said, half marathon this way, full marathon that way. I said, hell no. Half marathon it is. Half marathon it is. Went to the left, but at this time, my right foot was cramping and it felt numb. Both of my hams were cramping. I could barely walk. I was running the miles at around a 9-minute, 15-minute pace, 15-second pace, which is crazy to look at after the fact. Because I didn't look at the time, I just committed to the steps. Write that down. Don't commit to the timing. Just focus on the action or the steps. So I kept running. I got to mile 12, my body was shot, but my mind, my commitment, my focus kicked into a gear that I had never imagined that I could ever feel. And I don't ever think that I could probably get to that moment again. But what I started to think about was that time when you looked up and you woke up and your son was on that air mattress. I thought about Bria pushing out that baby, lifeless. I thought about Dietrich sitting in a coffin. I said, I have unmatched potential, not unrealized potential. I said, I'm going to get across this finish line. And I am going to push through every obstacle, every barrier. And it's not about the pace setters, it's about purpose. My purpose in this day was to finish and commit to the 13.1 mile race that I was supposed to run. And a lot of us in this room, at mile 7, you're quitting. And the experiences that you wrote down on that paper, the experiences that you want to be able to create in your life, the experiences that you want to create with your kids, you're taking maybe not the $1 million on that side of the room. You're taking the $100,000 job. You're taking the settled relationship. You're taking the part-time business. Instead of walking in saying, if I need 2 more years to commit to the calling that God has put on my life, I'll take the 2 years. If I needed 45 more minutes to finish that last mile, I would have taken it any day before I told myself that I quit that day. And a lot of us, we're so selfish with our purpose. And that's the reason that we're not creating it. That's the realization of it all. See, my purpose is attached to something truly bigger. Truly bigger. Because if you look at this idea of purpose, if you look at this idea of purpose, this powerful word, this legacy that we're trying to leave in life. If I ask you, I'll give you $20 to walk from here to here, who would take it? Just $20, we walk to here from here. If I said, I'll give you $20, we're gonna raise this up 100 meters. We're gonna walk from building to building on a plank, who would do it? $20. Okay, a few of us. Everybody's hand raised for the first one, a few of us. If I said your child was on the other side of the plank on a burning building, and I was on this side, and all you had is a plank and you're 250 meters up, who's gonna take that risk? See, when your purpose is attached to something more than you, you're not thinking about the pain. You're not thinking about the obstacle. You're not thinking about the fear. You're only operating from a place of bravery and courage. See, a lot of us have only focused on our gift and our talents and our will. And you've created limits attached with all of those things. But if you only see, my kid will not eat if I don't deliver. My community will continue to deal with the same problems if I don't deliver. It will continue to be prejudice in this area if I don't deliver. It will continue to be domestic violence in this area if I don't deliver. It will continue to be human trafficking in this area if I don't deliver. It will continue to be terrible parents in this area if I don't deliver. If you attach it to the other side and make those fears invisible, not your calling invisible, you will accomplish everything that you were set out to accomplish. 4 steps. Purpose. Say it after me. Purpose. Planted. Process. And promise. In order for you to create the life that you want, that you design, instead of letting someone else graphically design your life, you're going to have to go through your obstacles. You're going to have to commit to a process that each step matters more than the result. And you're going to have to believe in yourself more than the noise is telling you. Don't manifest your misery. Use your gift, use your calling to be able to create miracles. Thank you.